Okay, so we've looked at fill, we've looked at interpolate, we've looked at different techniques to fill the values and the data set. Let's look at something called drop. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to try to fill in those values, or you don't want to fill in those values. So what you would do is use something called drop NA, which basically does what the name suggests. It will just go in and drop the values. So let's look at how that works. So you want to create a new data frame, new df, and then df dot drop NA. Okay, and this is pretty much it. What it does is new df. Alright, so now you see it has only 3 columns. So we originally had these many columns, but drop NA basically takes a glance at everything, and wherever it has a NaN value or a null value, it will just drop that row or column. So let's say you don't want to do this, you might want to keep this column. So then you could just specify something like how is all. So now it will only drop it if all the rows are blank. Alright, so if there is something which has an empty row, it's going to drop this. Otherwise it's going to keep these values, which is NA. There's also another way where you could tell it a threshold where it needs to keep the value if it has at least 2 values, right? So you could do something like this. So what this does, it tells pandas, what it does is if you have at least 2 values which are not NA, it will keep them. So it would keep these, right? But it will drop this. Let's see how if that works. Yeah, so you see it dropped this value where there was a blank. Let me print this. Okay, so this is the original data frame, and you see it doesn't show up over here because it only had 1 value which was valid. It didn't have 2 values, and we specified at least 2 values need to be there for us to consider it, otherwise just drop that row. So that's how this works. So then these are the 3 different mainly 3 different ways where you could use drop NA. You could either decide to drop all NAs, or you could decide if everything is a blank row, drop it, or else you could define a threshold or a tolerance based on which it would work, right? Thanks.